Hello, everybody. Welcome into Talladega Superspeedway live with the NSRA Sunday Select Series. Getting ready for the season finale, and it's come in the version of the All-Star Race, sponsored by Limitless Esports. Heading right down trackside. Going to get started with some of your pre-race ceremonies, but a little something that we're going to do new this week. Bubba Winningham gets these guys kicked off with a little pre-race intro each and every week, and we're going to go ahead and play that before we get started with everything else. We will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Sanctioned by the National Superspeedway Racing Association, Sunday Select Series, led by David Overstreet and sponsored tonight by Cody Neagles. And now, for those in attendance and NSRA fans watching around the world on Ghost Racing Network, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the sold-out Talladega Superspeedway in Lincoln, Alabama, it's time! 80 laps for the All-Star ARCA 212. Thank you, drivers, for racing tonight. Let's roll.
All right, Bubba Winningham's ready to go, and so are we up here in the booth, starting with your grid here tonight. It's going to be Vicente Guerrero on the inside of row 1. He'll have Paul Servant on his outside. Cody Neagles, Tom Dixon going to be making up row 2. It's Dawson Wise in 5th. Dana Osborne to his outside in 6th. Les Levy back in 7th. John Guerra in 8th. It's going to be Daniel Holloway and Joshua Gathright rounding out your top 10 here tonight. Bubba Winningham will start 11th. David Overstreet to his outside in 12th. It'll be Robert Jordan in 13th with Rob Connors 14th. Dusty Burkhart in 15th. Alex Giffen rounding out row number 8. Dean Wilkinson on the inside of row 9. Larry Dickerson on the outside. It's going to be Todd Macy in 19th. Ricky Wentworth Jr. rounding out your top 20 here tonight. Brian Kaufman will start 21st. Len McNeese in 22nd. Dean Viney will roll off 23rd. And Adam Kilday will roll off from that 24th position. You got to take a look to your race info while we were waiting on the starting grid, but taking a quick look at it again, it's the All-Star race here tonight. We will be, ignore the NASCAR Xfinity Series, meant to put it down as ARCA, but it still will be 80 laps as follows. 50% fuel, unlimited tires. Everybody does still have those 2 fast repairs in their pocket. 2.65 miles the distance of Talladega Superspeedway, 112 degrees. Will be the starting track temp. Calm winds and calm temps outside. Going to make for a good one here tonight. All right, here we go. Pace car pulls off, rolling up into the Geico restart zone. Regular season finale in the ARCA cars. Green flag is in the air. We're racing at Talladega. All the sights and sounds early of the Gen 4 ARCA car, as it is going to be Paul Servant leading lap 1 on that outside line. A lot of momentum, though, rolling right now on the bottom as well for Vicente Guerrero and Cody Neagles. I can tell you those two Limitless guys love these cars. You see Dawson Wise rolling just behind in that 3rd position right now as well. The 3 car going to get a big run down the back straightaway. Can Paul get clear right at the end? Looks like he does. And by plenty, trying to bring Tom Dixon with him. Tom not going to be able to follow the train. He'll stay up top as the 3 jumps down to the bottom. Seeing a push now from the 8, Dana Osborne, John Guerra behind. And a couple guys look like they thought about 3 wide, quickly thought better of it. Is Vicente Guerrero. He's going to make his way down to the pits. Did he get a penalty? Got to wonder what happened to the 14 machine here. And Vicente with a unscheduled stop early, 3 laps in. That does make me wonder if it was a black flag. This may have been his last lap at a chance of serving it without getting a penalty, that is. And with only 3 laps down, the speeds these guys running these, he could be in danger of losing a lap here a lot quicker than he wants to. Comes into his box, not seeing any tires, so it looks like whatever it is, he's just serving. Again, going to have to assume that's a penalty. We'll see if we can get a little bit more on that later. But as we go back up front, 3-wide action is the name of the game right now. Les Levy making a move to the outside, the 62, looking 3-wide. How about one of your Final Four contenders last season, Daniel Holloway, says, okay, I'll go up here, let's make this work. And that 2-car tandem is going to make some progress if they can stay tucked together. We talked about the speeds, but I would say just about every aspect of the ARCA cars that these guys are running here tonight is much different from what they're used to running in the trucks or the Xfinity cars. I think the best way to start with it is looking at the dashboard speed and taking a ride on board here with one of these guys maybe a little bit further back in the pack. How about Alex Giffen as he works his way third lane? Oh, he actually gets into the wall. He'll save it. That's going to cost him some momentum. You go to the inside here. Robert Jordan, Superman himself, 200 miles an hour as they approach turn number 3. And you see he's putting a wheel into it, redlining. These things are running very, very fast and very high RPMs. But they feel a lot stiffer in handling. That means that you got to hold the wheel that much more steady. Cody Nagel's doing a nice job out in front, leading that inside. Dawson Wise, he knows how to push his teammate here, and he'll push him a lot to keep him up front. But the goal is, and I know not all these guys catch on to this right away, you don't want to slam a guy too hard right in the back of these cars. It will lift the back end up. It'll get that car out of shape, and that could result in what we could see as the big one here tonight. But if you offset just a little bit to the left, which right there you see Dawson, how he tucks out a little bit to the left. If he pushes in that exact format, here we go. Try to see if we can get a little bit of a view of it. See how he gets a little bit offset as he pushes Cody? That helps keep the car that you're pushing that much more stable, and you can lock on and push for that much longer. These guys all trying to figure it out as who. Man, there was almost some contact as it looked like the 46 taking it 3-wide to the outside. David Overstreet looking for a move, trying to get to the back bumper of Les Levy. Those two paired together here tonight. And there you saw Vicente Guerrero in the distance. We talked about it. He's going to be in danger of going a lap down here pretty quick. The field is catching him at a blistering pace. The rest of the field got broken up during that restart. Not sure exactly what happened. You see, as we go up here, Larry Dickerson towards the back of this lead pack, which looks like Bubba Winningham is the first man leading it, allowed all these guys to make sure that they were able to stay tucked with this lead pack. The problem back here is Ricky Wentworth, the first guy to lose the pack. They're fading. He's got some help with Adam Kilday, Len McNeese, and Dean Viney all behind him. 4 cars you would think would be enough to try to close that gap, but it's just not. And as it stands right now, they are, looks like about 4 seconds exactly behind the lead pack. And just as I said, they were fading. Looks like now maybe starting to turn it around in the positive direction as they are now gaining time on the leaders. But there you see Vicente Guerrero. He's going to go down to the apron quickly, tucks back up. He'll try to tuck in line, see if he can't help his teammates and hope for a caution here in the process. But still 3-by-3 now up front with 7 laps completed. Daniel Holloway in the middle. Les Levy still been up top. He's been able to make some progress, but still not enough to have a chance to get clear. We've seen that middle line have a chance to roll, but I think it's really going to require a lot of pushing to get that third lane clear. Overstreet's got fresh temps to do it. I think that middle maybe a little bit more in the area of running out of temps right now as John Guerrero's been pushing on the back bumper of Tom Dixon for a while. In the bottom lane still looking very comfortable. Dawson Wise, Dana Osborne staying nice and tidy behind that 6 machine breaking the draft. And these guys that are sitting a little bit further back just behind the lap car of Vicente Guerrero, I think they're playing it a little bit safe right now. There's no need to be too aggressive. It's still early on, not even 10 laps in. Put it as not even 1/8 of the way through this race. Ooh, thought maybe we had somebody slip up there. Looks like no, we just have a change for the lead. That caused a little bit of a checkup on the bottom as Tom Dixon was able to get clear off the front bumper. Ooh, now there's some contact. Not going to hold on to this one. John Guerrero goes around. Going to bring the caution out. Dawson Wise almost upside down. We got more cars making contact into the inside wall. And both of the drivers that we were just getting ready to get to that had driver cams for us here tonight, they get collected. Your leader, Cody Nagels, I should say was your leader just after he got cleared, was when that incident occurred. Second at the time. There you see Dawson Wise trying to roll out of it. That is heavy, heavy damage for quite a few of these guys. And we might see one of those 2 fast repairs pulled out here a bit early. Let's go back and take a look. So coming through the middle of 1 and 2, saw somebody wash up here in the middle, and it is indeed going to be John Guerrero. Couldn't tell if Les had came down initially or Guerrero had came up. So let's back it up and take a look. All right, there's John Guerrero in the middle of the 88 machine. And watch here is, ooh, that's what it is. You see, actually, it's less coming down as David Overstreet tried to give a little bit of a bump to his teammates. And again, we see all the time, you can get away with those little bumps in the truck or Xfinity cars. Here in the ARCA cars, not so much. Watch it slowly. You see, as he gets the contact, it just immediately sends it down the track. Les puts some wheel back. He actually does a nice job of correcting it. But the bit of contact that he made with John Guerra sent John down into Cody Nagels, and then that 88 coming back up the track trying to save it. Gets up into David Overstreet, and now everybody that's in it is along for the ride. Cody Nagels, I think, might have been one of the guys to get the worst of this one. Him and Dawson Wise, as we saw Dawson Wise actually almost get upside down. Here you go as they come off of turn 2. There's contact. Holloway gets sent around. Dawson Wise ramps off of somebody, and man, the 00 bright yellow car towards the bottom of your screen, Rob Connors. That was a huge hit. That'll do even more damage here. Let's take a ride on board, actually, with Dawson Wise through this one, as he sees it kind of start to form up, and there's just not really anything he can do. You see the 88, they're running 3 wide. There's the slight contact. Cody gets sent around and then gets into Dawson. And there's where Dawson Wise almost gets up and over. Take a couple more views of this one. Rob Connors getting sent pretty hard into the inside wall as the rest of the field all trying to dodge it. I think out of the lead pack, we probably had about half and half in terms of that wreck. There's the hit for the 00. Big, big impact. As you see Dawson Wise slide down, he's going to tag the rear end, that 98 machine, into the outside wall as well. So it looked like everybody was able to roll away, but definitely saw some smoke out of the back of some of these guys, and that would indeed require one of those 2 fast repairs that everybody has in their inventory here tonight. So as we go back live, it is Tom Dixon, who we talked about, just took the lead right before that accident occurred. And he is going to retain that lead as it looks like Vicente Guerrero looking to get the wave around here. Don't think he was able to get the lucky dog. Not sure if he got some contact in that wreck or not. It's Paul Servant on the outside. He'll be starting second. Alex Giffen back in third. Dusty Burkhart in fourth. Brian Kaufman fifth. Dana Osborne back in sixth. Todd Macy in seventh. Dean Viney in eighth. Daniel Holloway ninth. And Larry Dickerson currently rounding out your top 10. One of the rookies that's had a very strong season so far. Looking to see if he can get him an all-star win before we move on into the round of 16 for the playoffs. And speaking of the playoffs, a little bit of an interesting format here tonight. Initially, the all-star race was supposed to have somewhat of an LCQ format. The only difference is the way everything played out. All 16 guys that have ran the required races to make the playoffs this season are also the guys that are scored in via points for the playoffs. And I know I might have confused you with that, kind of a mouthful, but basically everybody that was in the running for the playoffs made it into the playoffs. So there's really no gain here tonight. So it's basically just a normal race, different car. And looking at what your playoff picture is going to look like, Cody Nagels looks like he will, I believe, claim the regular season championship as he currently sits first in points. But the rest of your round of 16 is going to be Vicente Guerrero, David Overstreet, Larry Dickerson, Bubba Winningham, Len McNeese, Michael Triscaro, Adam Kilday, Dusty Burkhart, Les Levy, Alex Giffen, Robert Morrison, John Guerra, Dawson Wise, and Robert Jordan, followed by, looks like, Dana Osborne, the last man to make it in as well. Sean Stevens coming up just short. And out of that list, I think I named just about 16 of the biggest hitters we see in the series. So it's going to be a fun run through the playoffs, and we'll see who can claim that championship for title at the end of the season. We saw Cody Nagels get the job done in an absolute thriller the end of last season, that overtime comeback, and I cannot tell you how many positions he made up in those last 2 laps. But getting back to the action we see on track here tonight, you saw right there that little bit of contact for John Guerra. We talked about how stiff these things are. You got to be so careful when steering them. It's so easy to get a little bit behind on your steering. That's exactly what happened to Guerra right there. And once it shot him up the track, there was just nothing he could do. But just hard racing, and Overstreet taking notes, one of the veterans of the series. He'll make sure he doesn't do that again. Again, this is the first time these guys have ran these cars all season. And so you got to test the waters out a little bit so you know what you have for the end of the race. I think that's exactly what David was trying right there. Unfortunately, things didn't quite work out. But I think he'll be okay here. Vicente Guerrero is indeed going to get that lap back. This will put him to the rear of the field for this restart, but he'll get right back up and try to go catch his teammates. But Tom Dixon, tell you what, good-looking car too. Looks like a lot of these guys kind of ran, to a certain degree, throwback schemes. Tom Dixon certainly one of the guys included with that here tonight. And that 411 machine looks like it wants to be in victory lane. He's got the lightning on all sides and the Die Hard Batteries logo. But how about Paul Servant? Have not seen him out much at all this season. But he is looking strong here early. Been leading the outside, pushing. Man, oh man, Alex Giffen, what can he do in the 99? Going to be lined up on the inside. And of course, you're going to have to keep your eye on some of the big hitters that got sent to the back by this one. Bubba Winningham, we saw him, I think, playing it patient. We'll see if he decides to go for it a little bit more now or hang back a little bit longer. And David Overstreet, David Overstreet with issues here, no longer on track. Not sure what happened to the driver of the 46. See if he can get back here before we make it to the first green flag pit stop. Green flag back in the air. 11 make it 12 laps completed as we cross the line. Good even start here for both guys on the front row. Question's going to be, where does the momentum come from the most? On that first restart, we saw it all on the outside. I think we're going to see more of the same right here. It's going to be who can link up first, though. You see the 0-1 rather, try to get really close to the back bumper of Alex Giffen, Brian Kaufman, that is. But as they get down the back straightaway, who's going to get all the momentum first? Looks like the outside starting to surge. There you go, tandem draft for the 2-3s. Dusty Burkhart going to push Paul Servant clear. We'll see if Paul decides to drop low. Doesn't yet, but he's got to be careful. I think they're thinking about splitting, as you see Dusty Burkhart trying to get any temps he can before he catches back up to the back bumper. Paul chose not to take it. Think it costs him just a little bit there as now he falls back in line. That'll check up the outside here for just a moment. Robert Jordan in the 74. Good-looking paint scheme for him tonight as well. Looks like he's got the Tide Pods. Good-looking scheme. I think he's actually running a Pontiac livery. Cody Nagels, one of his teammates there on the inside. I think he's leaving a big enough gap here for the 74 if he wants to take it. At the same time, though, maybe Cody's playing it a little bit safe right now. We saw him involved in that last wreck, and I believe he did have to use one of his faster pairs. As we ride on board, Cody Nagels, one of the guys that is carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. And there's your regular season champion, driver of the number 6 machine. And yeah, I think he is playing it just a little bit safe right now. Maybe saving a little bit of fuel. Again, we know that these guys all have 50% in terms of fuel, but not sure the exact distance that translates to. And so we'll have to find out based off when they make this first pit stop. That'll certainly give us a better idea of what we're looking at the rest of the way. And then Dawson Wise as well in the 98. Another driver, we'll see it in the round of 16. Looking for a good run here tonight. Runs behind Cody Nagels. Looking to see if he's going to let Len McNeese in. Oh, that's a close call. Dawson there decided better of it. Didn't want to let the 82 slip in line. And so as we go back up front, it's still Tom Dixon with the lead. But they fan back out 3 by 3. Talladega, a 4-lane racetrack, 3 wide. I don't want to say easy to do, but fair enough to do for these guys, especially with the talent level that they all bring to the table. But when you're all fighting for the same piece of real estate, things tighten up in a hurry. These guys do not want to let the lanes below them surge. So what you'll see eventually as the race goes on is the top will start side draft in the middle will start side draft in the bottom. And that's usually around the area where we see that wreck start to skew. Man, that was a close call for the 99. Sorry to cut myself off right there, but that caught me a little off guard. I thought we were about to see our second caution, the 21 of Daniel Holloway. Currently on the inside. Further back. And looking back towards the absolute back of the field here, Vicente Guerrero has already been making his way a couple positions up from where he started, 23rd. So a little bit interesting here that David Overstreet has not returned back out on track. There's Ricky Wentworth. Adam Kilday in 21st. And actually, from the look of it here, Vicente Guerrero is still being scored a lap down. So I'm not sure what exactly happened to the driver of the 14, but still not being scored on the lead lap, but he is in lucky dog position. I think that's what he's hoping for. Overstreet falls to 3 down as he's still not been able to return. But up front, Dana Osborne on the outside, Paul Servant in the middle, and Tom Dixon on the inside. That middle had a big run. The 3 got clear if he wanted to take it, chose not to. And that's a smart move because if he drops down, that middle lane's going to be able to jump down to the middle as well. You don't want to risk that. And Tom Dixon is up 3 from where he started. Doing a really nice job getting up there inside, drafting Paul from being able to get clear out of the turns. Problem is he's just not really getting as big of a push as the 3 and the 8 are getting, at least not down the straightaways. But these guys, they'll start to run out of temps, and the gridlock will start to break down. Les Levy looks like maybe he has a little bit of damage from that first caution. I don't think he had to get it repaired. But as they all rocket their way off of turn number 4, going to become a complete lap 17. Been about 5 or 6 laps from when we went back green. And I would expect that pit stop. I mean, you figure in the Xfinity cars, guys can make it right around to about 20 laps. Probably maybe give or take a lap on fuel. And the ARCA cars, I got to think, are probably pretty similar. Maybe a little bit more. So I think these guys can probably go around 18 laps on fuel. And that would put us just about lap 30. Maybe a couple laps before then on when I would expect this next pit stop. We'll find out. Alex Giffen decided to bail out of the pack. Didn't like what he sees. Burkhart and Servant got clear, and they both indeed dropped down to the bottom line. And the 62 of Les Levy now going to hop down to the middle in front of Bubba Winningham. John Guerra in the back, still not making his way up here. Caught my eye because I saw him dart out of line further towards the back. Currently sitting just behind the 7 machine. And no, he is going to stay back there as further towards the front. That third line thought they were getting ready to start to fade out, but Todd Macy jumped up. The third car is usually what makes a lane roll. That second car has to stay tucked on for them to stay even, but you need that third car to really start to make some progress. The bottom's starting to, I don't want to say pull away, but definitely starting to make everybody else think about single filing out here. As you see both of the 3 cars in the field here tonight, Burkhart and Servant, with about a 2-car length lead over the middle and top. But now you're going to see the 89 of Joshua Gathright. He'll get clear to the middle, jumps down in front of Les Levy and Bubba Winningham. We'll see if that maybe helps them start to roll a little bit better now. We go back here to Bubba Winningham. Gave us a little, I'm going to say pre-race ceremony, and I'll tell you what, did a darn good job. I want to get a little driver start your engines next time from it. But man, oh man, Bubba Winningham, another one of the veterans in the series, does a phenomenal job. And looks like, Vicente Guerrero is choosing to get a little racy right here. He's going to jump to the 3rd lane. Threw a big side draft right there on Bubba Winningham. As we go back to the front, you hear everybody playing with the throttle. You can't hold it wide open. If you do that, you're going to cause an accident. But right now, very, very disorganized, as it looks like Vicente Guerrero almost thought about going full wide for a moment, but instead he'll tuck in just behind Bubba Winningham. And so the outside, where Joshua Gathright had made some progress, all of a sudden fades here. As Les Levy, he'll have to tuck in line behind Daniel Holloway. Oh, Vicente Guerrero around. This is going to bring out the caution as we got multiple guys into the outside wall out of 4. And any chance of getting a lap back is out the window now for Vicente Guerrero. And man, looked like maybe a couple guys in this that were trying to play it safe. Holloway, heavy damage. So it looks like, is he going to bring it immediately to the pits? No, he'll try to stay out and limp it around. But I'm telling you, the left front suspension for the 21 machine is not looking too good. Yeah, that's going to be a fast spare for sure. Let's go back and take a look at what brings out your second caution here of the night. Vicente Guerrero was the first guy that I saw go around. Question is going to be, how exactly does he go around? And I tell you the answer, looks like it's going to be more or less of the same of exactly what we saw with the first caution. Looked like a little bit of a checkup. Let's check that first. That might explain the story a little bit more. Listen to the throttle here. Go up to Vicente Guerrero. Take a listen here. And yeah, maybe just a little bit of a checkup, but the checkup wasn't so much the cause of the wreck. It may have initiated what we saw be the actual cause of the wreck, which was just Daniel Holloway giving a tap to the back bumper of Vicente Guerrero. And we know that has not worked. David Overstreet earlier turned his teammate around, trying to do the same thing, and slight contact, but these cars just do not like it and push at all in the turns. That sends Vicente down the track, gets into Tom Dixon, who does he indeed hold on? He does. Phenomenal job right there for Dixon, but here's everybody else piling in. Joshua Gathright nowhere to go on the bottom. See the 01 get turned around sideways below the apron. Gathright, huge damage. Up top, looked like the 54 maybe snuck around without getting too much damage. That's Todd Macy. There you see Les slide down the track. Dawson Wise arrives on scene. He was able to drive around. And Vicente Guerrero might have wanted his lap back. Doesn't look like he's going to have a chance of getting it now. And the 01 of Brian Kaufman, who we saw, he got kind of ramped up in the air there by Robert Jordan, who's trying to miss it. And man, that was a really close call for a couple of these guys. In fact, let's back this up, take a couple different angles here. Don't think it was quite, or collected quite as many guys rather as the first one. But I'm thinking Todd Macy got a pretty good view as he snuck around the outside. Still made a little bit of contact with the wall, but certainly not nearly as bad as it looked like it was initially going to be here for the 54. And, oh, no, I take it back. Looks like he did make some contact. Unfortunately, just not quite able to make it through. This looks like the 55 on his inside. Dean Wilkinson getting back up to speed as well. So we take one more shot of this one, the restart cam. A lot of damage in that wreck. And so your second caution of the night brings 5 or more down to the pits, but Dana Osborne is being scored as your current leader. Paul Servant in second. Dusty Burkhart back in third. Robert Jordan fourth. Rob Connors in fifth. Dean Viney in sixth. Bubba Winningham back in seventh. 25 of Larry Dickerson in eighth. It's going to be Todd Macy in ninth. Cody Nagels rounding out your top 10. And actually want to go back and take one more look at this caution. Take it on board here with Larry Dickerson, as he was another guy that had a pretty wild ride through this. I think he was able to make it through. Yeah, man, he dives to the inside, and then it looks like the C's part a little bit as well. Certainly a close call, but does a nice job getting through it. And then this was under caution here. Excuse me. After the fact, I was trying to go back to the different view. Nonetheless, we'll just head back up front because I think these guys are getting the one-to-go signal. And sure enough, they should this time. 21 laps complete, a fourth of the way through this 212-mile affair. I want to thank everybody that's tuning in. And for everybody that's been wondering the deal the last 2 weeks, apologize the week before. Had some business come up on the day of that I was not expecting, that I had to take care of, wasn't able to make it. And then last week had an event that I was attending in real life. Started at 7, was expecting it to be over and be home by 9, but the event itself ended up not ending until after 9, so I was not able to make it here. Apologize for everybody that was relying on the broadcast. Certainly hate to have to do things like that, and the NSRA guys certainly expect better and deserve better. Put on great racing that we see each and every week. For what we do, we should be back next season for the NSRA Sunday Select Series. Might have Dawson Wise as well, and certainly make the broadcast that much stronger if we get the driver of the 98 up here in the booth. Got talent on track and off track. But he is going to need to work his way to the front here before we get to the next green flag cycle. Still haven't had that green flag pit stop just yet, so not sure on the exact fuel number at this point. And from what we have seen so far tonight, it's kind of fit the profile of an all-star race. Guys going for it each and every lap. We've seen a lot of 2 and 3 wide action. We're getting ready to see some more. As it's going to be 58 laps to go when we cross the line to get the green flag. Quick reminder that next place we do head here on Ghost Racing Network, not Monday, as we saw the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series actually finish their season up. Their, postseason up last week with a championship race at Phoenix. And so nothing Monday, at least for now. But Tuesday night, RMR hosts some Tuesday Night Thunder. Make sure you check it out. And I believe Sunday Fun Day after this, if anybody's interested. You get yourself involved in that as well. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the NSRA schedule towards the end of the broadcast. But more or less of the same. The biggest thing is the cars that are going to be in that championship race is what I think these guys are going to focus on the most, that being the Xfinity cars. So this is a fun week. Good reset week for everyone. And you get a win, you bring some momentum into the playoffs. And we had a couple new faces in Victory Lane here over the last couple weeks. For guys that maybe we didn't see throughout most of the season, but certainly have saw heat up towards the end. And Robert Jordan starting second on that outside row. What kind of push can he give to Paul Servant? Maybe see if he can't get himself to the lead here in the next 10 laps or so. Green flag is back in the air. 23 laps complete at Talladega. Good jump for that inside line. Maybe too good of a jump because Robert Jordan laying some bumper to the back bumper of that 3. Paul Servant surges ahead. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough to get clear as the bottom starting to roll shorter way around. They're going to have a lot of momentum, though, as they go down the back straightaway. Paul Jordan pushed the 3 of Paul Servant way out to the lead. We'll see, does Paul jump down here, try to take advantage? He doesn't. He's going to stay up top, likes the pushing that Robert Jordan has done so far. Just as I say that, looks like maybe he started to fishtail a little bit there. Again, the ARCA cars, they really push and draft a lot different than the trucks, Xfinity, or even next gens. A little bit more of a traditional tandem style in terms of when you see 2 guys get locked up. That's where you really start to see the most momentum be made. It's a lot more contact than it is arrow pushing when it comes to these cars. But you got to be really, really smooth with the contact. The back end has a tendency to lift up as you see the nose kind of pointed, sloped, whatever you want to call it, down. kind of acts as a ramp and lifts up the back of the car that you push. And that's where you can get yourself into trouble sometimes. You got to be really careful. We take a ride on board here a couple rows back with Dean Viney, one of the rookies. Up 18 positions right now from where he started. Driving the 71 machine here tonight. Currently sitting just behind Dusty Burkhart. And now Bubba Winningham, he'll start to roll on the outside line, is keeping an eye on the back bumper of Robert Jordan. And if you're Bubba right here, you want to try to get probably just a little bit closer, but doing a good job at making sure he doesn't make contact with the back bumper of the 74. And we have seen a lot of checkups mid-packs here tonight, so you don't want to be right on the bumper in case there is that checkup. And if you make contact, it's most likely going to send that guy that you're close to right around. As they now come to complete 25 laps, we'll go back a little bit further here, all the way towards the back. Take a look at the Limitless drivers. Cody Nagels, the sponsor of tonight's race, driver out of Rolla, Missouri, currently sits in the 20th position, down 17 from where he started. Dawson Wise back there as well, but we saw them leading early. We know they've got the speed to do it, but I think right now they're just playing it safe with the amount of cautions. Maybe I shouldn't say cautions, but the amount of aggressive racing, rather, that we've seen so far here tonight that has led to a couple cautions. And I think they're hoping we can get to a couple pit stops. Maybe they can start. Oh, we got a wreck. One around up front. We'll see. Can Dawson Wise. Oh, Dawson's going to get turned. As further back, Vicente makes it through Dawson Wise. Gets it straightened back out. And it brings out your third caution here of the night. As it looks like Ricky Wentworth, he's involved. 33 machine. Looks like he's got at least some damage towards the right front. Can't tell if he got it anywhere else. So as we go back and take a look, we saw Dawson Wise unfortunately get a piece of that, even though was way behind it. So this is going to start a little bit further towards the front. And actually, we'll go to the blimp cam because I actually could not tell who it initially started with there as we were right on board with Dawson. And if we go to the fan cam, not sure if this is going to do us much justice either. Here we go. Keep an eye towards the middle of the pack. Ooh, there it is. And I think that's actually going to be, looks like the 01. I was trying to figure out who he actually hit, though. And so Brian Kaufman, back that up a little bit more and take another look here. He's going to get into the 99 of Alex Giffen. So that's where this starts. But you see the 01 is up top, 99 of Alex Giffen in the middle. And watch from the chopper view here. Does Giffen come down? Or excuse me, does Giffen go up? Or does Kaufman come down? Ooh, looks like Brian Kaufman coming down. Gets into the right rear of the 99. Maybe slight neck code, but certainly looks like there was contact. And even if there wasn't, there was going to be contact. And that turns the 99 up into the outside wall. And then here comes David Overstreet. Some of the rest of the field trying to miss it. Just getting involved. Take another look from a different angle of this one before we go back and see that little bit of a secondary wreck. This did not take much. Giffen maybe drifted up just slightly. Wow, huge hit for Alex. As you saw, that ripped the wheel. Suspension all apart. Wheel only holding on by its tether. And then Dawson Wise had a heck of a save here. He actually got tagged as part of the wreck. But if we go take a ride, before we take a ride on board, we already took the ride on board, but here you go. You see just behind Dawson Wise, that's going to be where that next contact is. They see the wreck. They're going to start checking up here. And man, he gets pile driven by the 33 of Ricky Wentworth. Thinking Ricky may have just not saw it or just not able to get wound up in time if he did. Man, that was a huge hit for Dawson Wise. Watch how much the back of the car lifts up, and this will do some damage. Better in the back than the front, but 33's got a head of steam. Does try to miss it, looks like the last second, but just a little too late. He's able to steer around the 01. Brian Kaufman, continue on. And so as we go back live, 27 of 80 laps now complete. Still about 13 laps from halfway. Dana Osborne being scored as your leader. Paul Servett currently sitting in second as we got a couple guys still in the pits. Dusty Burkhart back in third. Robert Jordan in fourth, and Tom Dixon rounding out your top five. But looks like your two biggest movers inside the top 10 are Dusty Burkhart and Robert Jordan. Dusty Burkhart up 12 from where he started this race at, and Robert Jordan up 9, flying through the field. We'll see if those two can get just a little bit closer, maybe take the lead. But as we come around to what we should get as the one to go signal right here, we are going to take a quick break. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway, getting ready for the third restart of the night. Pace car pulls off. Dana Osborne leads them back into the restart zone. Through the gears we go. 29 laps now complete. Still no green flag stops up to this point, but certainly seen a lot of very aggressive racing in the 3 on the outside of Paul Servant. Well, he's been in the top 4, I would say, just about every single time that we've talked about him here tonight. The 8 of Dana Osborne on the bottom. Dusty Burkhardt has had a great feel for these cars tonight. He's been doing a phenomenal job of just about anybody that he's had to push. And here we go as they race down the back straightaway. This is the battle right here, is who can get to the back bumper first. There's the ride on board with Dusty Burkhardt. Robert Jordan not quite as linked up, but the outside still rolls. And the 3 not quite able to get clears. It looks like Les Levy already looked to the outside, try to get a little bit of a side draft. Nothing doing, so he'll tuck back down to the middle line just in front of Daniel Holloway. David Overstreet, he knows he's got to go. Currently sits 2 laps down, but he's looking to see if he can get that down to 1 lap down here as he takes a look to the outside. Still nobody going with that 46 machine just yet. Vicente Guerrero finally was able to get himself back onto the lead lap after a couple times of trying and no luck. Finds himself at the back, though, of the field right now behind Adam Kilday. 99 of Alex Giffen. These guys got to be careful. They could be in danger of losing this lead pack right now, in fact. Looks like leading this little secondary pack, if you will. Actually looks like Joshua Gathright and John Guerra are kind of acting as a little bit of a bridge for those guys, so I think they'll be okay. But just as I say that there, looks like Alex Giffen ducks out of line. I think that's the move you want to be making right now if you're trying to catch the field. Single file out. Punch as big of a hole in the air as possible in terms of not so much it's going to be as wide of a hole, but it's going to be a longer streamline. You can run a lot faster. But up front, already back to 3x3 race and didn't take long. Paul Servant looking to the bottom. He's going to do so. And now Robert Jordan is going to have a chance to poke his nose out in front at Talladega. No wins yet on the season, but we know how much speed he's got. And here you go. He's got a chance to make something big happen here if he can hold on. Still 50 laps to go. But even being in front for a pit stop is going to gain you a huge advantage on the latter part of this race. Les Levy on the outside. David Overstreet needing a lap back, and also at the same time says, why not push my teammate to the front, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. See the 54 of Todd Macy also thought about taking a peek. Ooh, Robert Jordan creeping down just a little bit, maybe trying to side draft. And you see just how darty these cars are. In fact, I want to go right on board here. Let's take a ride on board again with Robert Jordan, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Watch, you see how the wheel... Now, down the straightaways, it's not as bad, but especially going in and coming out of the corners is where you really feel it in these cars. And watch as he gets down into turn 1 and then comes out of turn number 2. And right there, you see how he has to put a little bit more wheel into it, but he can't hold it. The car wants to dart around too much, so he kind of just gives it a little bit of input throughout the whole corner. And then on exit here, wants to wash up a little bit, has to put a little more input, and then it wants to dart down a little bit. Very, very tough sledding here in the early going for some of these guys. Track conditions themselves have not been too bad. Remember, we started with weather outside under 70 degrees. Track temp has cooled down as well, as it looks like it is now 156 sim time. 104 degrees, cloudy skies, 2% humidity, and up front, still 3x3. Dana Osborne now leading that middle line. Robert Jordan falls to second. Les Levy trying to get something going up top still with David Overstreet. And then the 01 who we actually saw involved in that last wreck, Brian Kaufman, he also wants some more of the action. He knows he's got 2 fast pairs, and he's trying to find his way right back to the front, close to where he was running, just as that last caution did occur. Further in the back, still have not heard much more yet from Dawson Wise or Cody Nagels since that first caution that they were both involved in. And part of me kind of wonders, I mean, these guys still all do have 2 fast pairs tonight. But Cody looks like he's having a good time just riding around right now. Dawson Wise in a similar position. Nothing on the line this week. Enjoy yourself. See if you can't get a teammate. Oh, big wreck up front. Out of turn number 4. Oh, man, huge hit. 18 upside down. Bubba Winningham goes for a barrel roll. As Tom Dixon, John Guerra, Adam Kilday all come to a sliding halt. It brings out your 4th caution here of the night. And the struggle to get green flag racing in is going to continue. As here we go. Let's go back and take a look. Oh, that was an odd look. You saw the 1 car hop up. And that's usually an indication of some contact. So it's Les Levy and David Overstreet is where this wreck looks like it's going to initially start. And if we take a look at TV follow, You see Overstreet creeping really, really close to the back bumper. And, ooh, man, could not tell from that view if there was contact. See if we can get a little bit of a closer angle. Man, it was really, really close if there wasn't. You got to think that there probably was a little something here. So here we go. We'll zoom the chopper in a little bit more. And, yep, sure enough. Just slight contact. First wreck of the night that we saw. Carbon footprint. I did not say right. I meant to say in the footprints. Almost a carbon copy. That was what I was looking for. Of what we saw in that first wreck earlier here tonight. David Overstreet trying to push his teammate Les Levy. This time, though, gives him an even smaller bump than what we saw that brought out the first caution. And it still just turns the 62 right down the banking. Gets into Tom Dixon. That kind of ramps Dixon's car up in the air. And they were going to wreck off that initially. But there was kind of a secondary wreck further back here as well, where you see the 55, Dean Wilkinson, and Bubba Winningham get together. Look like Bubba maybe slightly creeping up. Dean maybe just slightly creeping down. That's what turns the 18 up into the wall. And the 01 with nowhere to go. Todd Macy gets involved as well. And then guys trying to miss this. Oh my goodness. John Cara came flying in there. Thinking maybe he committed to a lane and didn't quite work out the way he had planned. Oh my goodness. Let's ride on board before we go any further here with the 88. Watch this hit. So he sees him wrecking here. Keeps it gassed up, and I think he sees it a little bit late because he has to swerve to miss the one car, so wasn't able to brake there. And then as soon as he gets up to brake, it's just too late by that point. And when you're committed to the outside, you really can't change much. Boy, Bubba Winningham. Upside down he goes, and for a wild tumble out of turn number 4. Take a couple more views of this one. So tell you what, the fans, they certainly got a pretty close and up close and personal experience with this one. As there's Bubba Winningham into the outside wall, and then there's the contact that sends him up and over. This one's going to collect about 5 different guys, as we will take one more angle here from the wall cam. And so Overstreet will not have a chance to get any of his laps back after being involved in that incident, and will have to take a fast spare most likely as well. It's still not quite halfway, about 5 laps from when we cross the line this time. And it is Dana Osborne leading the way with Dusty Burkhart in second. Robert Jordan back in third, Alex Giffen fourth. Paul Servant currently rounding out your top 5. Tell you what, as we do come to get the 1-to-go signal right here, we keep talking about Robert Jordan, but it's because he's having a stellar night so far. And we know how good he is when he's got his teammates around, but hasn't really had teammates around here tonight. And nonetheless, he's still making the best of it. A solid run up to this point, as looks like he's actually going to go around. Maybe gets transition to the leader right here. Nonetheless, let's go see if we can get a quick word with the driver of the 74 and see how he's feeling here tonight. Hey, Robert, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Sure do.
All right. Well, man, you're having a stellar run so far here tonight. Looks like you're going to line up on the outside of row 1. But there's been a lot of chaos so far. How are you maneuvering your way through it all?
Just dodging and driving. I'm just glad to be out of the hospital. I was in the hospital last weekend, and waiting for the broadcast and didn't get to see it. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, man, I certainly apologize for it, but the good news is we're getting to see plenty of you here this week as you stay at the front. Now, the car, it's a different car than what we're used to seeing. Trucks and Xfinity, the general schedule, but how have they felt different here tonight?
I like them. I like the ARCA cars. You just can't push them because when you bump up, you can't go up and bump them because it'll push them up in the air. So you just got to slowly tap them.
All right, well, we'll see if you can keep your way up here in the top 3 for the rest of the race, maybe with a shot to win this thing. We'll see if we're talking at the end. Good luck.
Thank you, Austin.
All right, we'll send Robert back down. And sure enough, Robert going through some medical issues right now, and as noted, was in the hospital last weekend, and certainly made me feel a lot worse about the fact that wasn't able to broadcast last weekend, as he was excited to see it. A lot of these guys ran special tributes to the 74, Superman on a lot of the cars. Certainly hearing about it, pretty sad that we missed it as well. But nonetheless, if Robert Jordan could get the win here tonight, I think that would be the final check mark to prove that he truly is Superman. But just good to see him out here running. And all these guys love running with him. Nicest guy you can find out on the track. Whether he's winning or losing, just glad to be out here. We'll see what he can do on this restart right here. Is when we cross the line to get the green flag, it's going to be, looks like about 44 laps to go. And again, still have not seen a green flag stop yet. And these cars are really fun, at least from a broadcast perspective, to watch pit stops on. Not so much from a driver perspective. They are really, really tricky to get woed up and get down to pit road speed. But man, they are fun to watch guys try to do it. And then you can break away. You only need 3 to 4 really good cars. And you can pull away or gain on certain guys in certain packs. So we'll see if we get a chance to see into that later in this run. But here we go as they work their way back into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 44 laps to go at Talladega in the All-Star race. Another pretty even start. This time, though, that third row on the inside, nowhere to be found. Vicente Guerrero quickly found his way back inside the top 5. And now looking for more as he'll get locked on to the back of the 3 of Paul Servant. And they're going to have a lot of momentum down the back straightaway. Watch for 1, maybe 2 to get clear, as the inside just has no contest for the moment. And the 74, Robert Jordan, he is going to get enough of a push to get clear. Will he take it? Sure enough, he does. 74 to the bottom and out in front as they work their way into turn 3. Further back, Les Levy. Boy, he has gotten caught in the wrong way a couple times here tonight, gotten turned around, but that has not stopped the efforts of the 62 machine to go to the front. He's going to try to do so again right here. And 3 wide, looks like Todd Macy and Dean Wilkinson, the 2 guys that are going to work with him on the outside. Osborne, Vicente Guerrero, the 2 pushers in the middle, and it's Giffen and Burkhart, the 2 pushers on the bottom. When they hit lap 40 in that halfway mark, it means with the 44 laps to go, if these guys could somehow make 22 laps on a fuel run, then it would be a one-stop. However, I don't think they can quite make it that far. We'll have a pretty good idea here, though. If guys save, maybe they can make it. Certainly going to be pretty close. As Robert Jordan leads that inside line, maybe not for too long here. Paul Servant almost got clear. And we heard Robert there when we were talking to him in the interview just before we went back green, said you can't push in these cars, you got to bump. And I think he put it perfectly. You certainly can get up there, and you kind of have to. You got to make some contact with the car in front of you if you plan on going forward. But you can't push through the guy. You just got to give him a little bump. And believe it or not, you can kind of see it, too, from the driver's view. Actually, let's see if we can catch a view of it here. Looking for who's being the most aggressive pusher right now. Well, I was going to say Vicente Guerrero, but I'm thinking that outside line, Dean Wilkinson, he's certainly pushing pretty hard right now, trying to get one of the guys he's helping to the front. A little bit of damage, actually. It looks like on the left rear of Les Levy, but here you go. Doing a nice job of just kind of pushing, bumping, but if he really pushed, you would see the back end of that 62 machine lift up just a little bit, and sometimes that's your signal. If that happens at all in the turns, it's going to send the 62 around. On the straightaway, maybe you get away with it just a little bit. And as soon as you see any lift on the rear end of that car, that's an immediate sign to back off. You are getting ready to turn that guy right around. And as we go back to a wider camera angle, the 3 of Paul Servant back out in front. Jump down to the inside. Once he got clear from the middle, that puts Vicente Guerrero in the lead in the middle. That top line just not rolling as well as they would like to. The middle really broken up. The inside looking the most organized with 3 guys bumper to bumper. And a lot of guys sitting back playing it safe. A couple of these guys have had to use both of their fast pairs. And the majority of them only have to use one that you see sitting back right now. And then a couple of them probably haven't even had to use one yet. Just continue to see how aggressive the racing has been and saying to themselves, yeah, I don't really want to go any closer to the front, at least not at the moment. So the 88 of John Gary, you see him back here. We saw him at the front earlier. It's almost been an inverse. In terms of guys that we saw aggressive and at the front early are now the guys that we say playing it safe, single file towards the back. And the guys that maybe we saw playing it a little bit safer earlier are 3 wide in the front, fighting for every piece of real estate that they can get. So Vicente Guerrero trying to lead it for Limitless. He's got a teammate in Robert Jordan. Robert, though, currently trapped on the inside behind the 3. And I think that inside rolls pretty well until temperatures start to get hot. But we haven't gotten to a point where that's been a big enough of an issue so far here tonight. So the inside has been probably the second strongest place to be. I think the middle's still the strongest. And that top line, we've seen a couple guys make it work, but still nothing that's made me really want to commit to it if I'm a driver. But Les Levy has been the Pied Piper of that third lane. Everybody has followed him up there here tonight. And Les, another one of the veterans that's had a pretty good season up to this point. And he is going to be another one of the championship favorites as we move to the playoffs starting next week. And there you go, Hometown Confidential. It's pretty funny. Haven't seen that one before. Further back in the field, all these guys that are running single file have a chance to save some fuel. As there you see David Overstreet. Looks like Brian Kaufman had to retire from the race. So yeah, it must have been one of the guys that had to use both of his fast repairs and then got caught up in another one of these cautions. So he has called it quits for the night. But if you're David Overstreet at this point, I know you're 2 laps down and you certainly would like to be back on the lead lap as soon as possible, but you're the only guy that's not on the lead lap. So you know that you're guaranteed to get the lucky dog if you can avoid any sort of contact in this next caution if we were to get one. But if you get even an X, even if you don't touch anybody, you get a netcode X, it's going to take that away, and you certainly don't want that. So he'll continue to stay towards the back for now. We'll see if he ends up deciding to work his way closer to the front. Dana Osborne with another big push to the 3, who kind of switched spots here. Vicente Guerrero found a way to get clear to the bottom. The 3-car jumped right back up to the middle. Dana Osborne, we've seen him doing a lot of leading in pushing here tonight. He's doing a lot of pushing in that middle lane, though, as he was able to get Vicente Guerrero to jump to the bottom. But now he's got more traffic in front as the 3 jump back up top. So normally, when you see one of those guys make a move, it would give the other lane a chance to cool temps and surge ahead. But when they post-switch spots, almost sort of kind of cancel out that effect. And so they're going to stay side by side out of 4s. Nobody really able to gain the advantage. So now we see Dusty Burkhart fading a little bit on the inside. That should help this middle roll. And that outside has all but faded. Here's Les Levy trying to side draft Alex Giffen back just a little bit. Nothing doing. And we'll see how long Dean Wilkinson stays out there and stays committed with the 62. We talked about we went back green with about 44 laps to go. Coming to lap 37. These guys have already ran. Oh, the 3's going to get turned down into Vicente Guerrero. Vicente saves it. They're not going to save it, though, up front. Further back, Holloway gets turned around. Looks like actually everybody else does save it. So Daniel Holloway, Bubba Winningham comes to a stop as well. David Overstreet got spun around, and just as we were talking about Overstreet needed to just avoid this wreck, that's not going to happen. And it looks like Holloway's trying to get it refired and re-rolling. He's able to do so. Let's go back and take a look. Let's take a look how this first wreck starts here. You see the 411 of Tom Dixon. Actually, it's Vicente Guerrero who gets turned out of line first. And we saw the 3 maybe give him just a little bit of a push. I mean, it's been the story of every single caution for the most part that we've seen here tonight. Sorry, I would say about 80% at least. And here we go. Dana Osborne creeping down. And he's going to try to give a little bit of a push here to Paul Servant. There it is. Offset a little bit to the right as well, but even if he wasn't, squared in the middle, sends the 3 down to Vicente Guerrero. And Vicente, how does he hold on? And further back here, Cody Nagels goes under the 21 just about. But going back up a little bit further to the guys that actually ended up being fully involved in this one, Daniel Holloway was the only guy that ended up fully spinning. Everybody else, for the most part, was able to save it. There was just some contact. So here you go. Up front, keep a close eye. As Vicente Guerrero saves it, Tom Dixon gets out of shape as well. Maybe had some help. Just trying to save it. And then further up, looks like Dean Wilkinson hits the wall, gets into Les Levy. That sends him into Dana Osborne. There's the big contact for Daniel Holloway, which ultimately sent him around. And, actually looked like we had somebody else. They got sent down into the inside wall. Couldn't tell if they were able to miss it or not. I think they were. Yeah, sure enough. And then there's, David Overstreet just piling in late. So after Holloway gets projected up, you see Bubba Winningham sees it. He's going to slam on the brakes. Overstreet tries to do the same. Unfortunately, though, both of them almost deer in the headlights. At that point, all you can do is lock it down and hope that you can stop in time. They just weren't quite able to that time around. Here we go. Take a couple more looks at it. And there's the big hit for Bubba Winningham as well. One more ride on board here with David Overstreet. You can see just how hard it is as a driver. When you lock up the brakes, you can't steer. And right here, he's full brake, downshift, and trying everything. And just not quite able to do so. Got a pretty good view there of the underside. Bubba Winningham's car. So this could potentially put an end to the night for Overstreet, but looks like he's going to play a little bit of a gamble, maybe stay out with the damage and hope that he can get a free pass But it's Alex Giffen right now who's being scored as your leader. Dusty Burkhart in second. Tom Dixon third. Robert Jordan back in fourth. Paul Servant rounding out your top 5. Dean Viney in sixth. Larry Dickerson in seventh. Dean Wilkinson in eighth. Todd Macy ninth. And Joshua Gathright rounding out your top 10. I'll tell you what, this race so far does not really have that feel for a race that we're going to see a green flag stopping. Seen 5 cautions before we've even made it to the 50 lap mark. So that's a caution in every less than every 10 laps. So certainly getting our fair share of them here early. Hope to get them out of the way as we have officially crossed the halfway mark. In fact, 6 laps over halfway. And I think if we were to see green flag stop, we have a chance to see it probably right about the halfway. And I'd say past, actually. These guys are going to have what looks to be about 33 laps to go when they take the green flag. And I think on fuel, you can indeed make probably at least 14 laps. Or excuse me, you could probably make at least 16 laps. And so I think all these guys will be able to make it all the way to 18 laps even, which would probably put them right at the window to make it. And then if you can save a couple laps, then you should have enough. Maybe even overtime if we see one, which certainly can't rule out the possibilities with what we have seen so far here tonight. But as Alex Giffen should lead him to green on this restart. Dusty Burkhart back in second. He's been having a great night here tonight as well. Actually, let's see if we can get a word now with Dusty Burkhart. Hey, Dusty, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good. Well, you've been having a good run here tonight as well. Been in probably the top 5 just about every time that we talked about you. But here we go. We're now over the halfway mark. First question I got is, what's the strategy looking like the rest of the way?
Honestly, it's just try to stay out of trouble and keep my fast repairs. And I know Alex is going to be a little bit short on gas, so banking for a long run.
Well, the other thing that we've seen here tonight is a lot of aggressive pushing that has led to these cautions. You've been up front. We've seen you pushing, leading. How do you kind of balance out how aggressive you can be in these cars while not overstepping that bound?
Honestly, I just try to push them as good as I can on the straightaways, and the turns just kind of lay off and not get too risky and wreck everybody.
Well, you've been doing a phenomenal job of it so far here tonight. Thanks for giving us a quick word. We'll see if you can hold on, maybe get your first win of the season here tonight.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so as we put Dusty Burkhart back, there you go. Says he's not risking it. I think maybe that's what some of these guys need to try to do as well. I mean, I know that everybody's fighting for different things out here, but there's nothing to gain from tonight, right? No playoff points, no positions, no payouts. It's just going for a win, maybe try to carry some momentum. So I'd really like to see these guys save some of the aggression for towards the end of the race, but that's just not been the case so far here tonight. And I think we're getting ready to see more of the same 2 and 3 wide action. But we have not seen a lot of aggression from this guy right here, Cody Nagels. Sits still towards the back of the pack, and I think he's going to stay there at least until we get to where we're good on fuel for this race, because window is within reach now. Dawson Wise as well, sitting a couple positions behind his teammate. And the 98, what can he make happen on this restart right here in 14th position? So they all line up single file. They got to be careful here to not lose the draft. We've seen that quite a bit here tonight with that long single file line of guys that come in to top off. Green flag back in the air. 48 laps complete at Talladega. Another good start for the inside. This time Alex Giffen trying to surge out ahead as they dive into turn number 1. Robert Jordan, though, staying locked on. You can do that for the first half a lap. Now he's going to create a little bit of separation. Meanwhile, Tom Dixon quickly jumping to the top line. They're all going to leave Alex Giffen out to dry. They talked about he was short on fuel. I'm not sure if everybody had that memo or what the deal is, but everybody freight training right around the 99. It looks like it's going to drag at least 2 clear. Tom Dixon not going to be able to follow. So Robert Jordan and Dusty Burkhart will drop down to the bottom. Further back, Les Levy right back to the top where he's been just about all night, committed to this third lane. And it may not be working now, but I can tell you from experience, when you see a guy that's willing to commit to a lane the entire night, it has a tendency to work out eventually, whether it be early on or towards the end of the race. But as we go to the back of the pack, we talked about some of these guys that should be good to go on fuel with a one-stopper. In fact, I say should. Everybody should be good to go on fuel with a one-stopper, but the more fuel you save now, the better you're going to be if we run into an overtime and a little bit more strategy that you'll have the option to play around with. And so up front, quickly back to 3x3. We saw Les Levy jump out of line, but he hadn't had any help. Now it looks like Bubba Whittingham can try his hand at the third lane as he jumps up top. Robert Jordan on the bottom. Tom Dixon still in the middle, getting a push from the 71 of Dean Viney. He's been having a pretty good run all season. One of the rookies, showing a lot of potential. If he's back next season, you know he's going to be strong. And then Dana Osborne, who we've seen as one of the lead pushers most of the night, he is quickly dicing his way back to the field. It looked like he was going to go to that third lane, maybe faked him out a little bit as they immediately jumped back down to the middle once he had a gap to fill in. And so they'll go back to 2x2 for the first 3 rows. And Les Levy, Bubba Whittingham still committing to this third line. Bubba so far not able to pull up to the back bumper of Les Levy, and therefore they have not made much progress, but now they're going to pull a third car. Looks like, ooh, man, that was a close call right there. I thought there was almost some contact as Todd Macy jumped up. He quickly bailed out. Now we see the 3 jump up to the top. Paul Servant, any lane that he's been in has went to the front so far here tonight. Can we see more of the same now right here? And what a shame. It's not going to work. 2 around. Tom Dixon trying to save it. He's going to get Paul Servant. Oh, big hit for Robert Jordan, who got back up the track. And, oh, man, was having such a good run. He's going to lock it down, roll back down here. So I don't know if this wreck's over yet. Finally is, as everybody gets it back straightened out. And you got to wonder, was this more of the same here? So it's going to start on the inside line right here with Robert Jordan and Dusty Burkhart. And as we go to the TV follow, here you go. Sure enough, it is. Robert Jordan, there it is. Slight contact to the back bumper of Dusty Burkhart in the turn. Turns Dusty down the track. Dusty saves it. But you saw Jordan washed up the track after making contact with Dusty's rear bumper. Got into Tom Dixon. That sends Dixon around. And a lot of guys actually were able to sneak by this man, Adam Kilday. And it looks like the 54 just misses it. Maybe even a little bit of a net code. A Phantom X right there. And then Robert Jordan sliding back up the track. Boom. There's the big hit for the 74. It's going to slide back down. You see the 99 of Alex Giffen. And it looks like Larry Dickerson getting together as well. And everybody able to miss it after that. But we heard earlier in an interview with Robert Jordan, said you can bump in these, but you can't push. But the bumping doesn't really apply to the turns. And it's kind of hard to judge sometimes, especially when you start to get the tunnel vision as a driver. You're just trying to stay close, not pushing the turn. And in that case, it looked like he got just a little bit too close. And boy, they paid the price for it in a big way. When the 74 comes back up, you see the 55 nowhere to go. Dean Wilkinson, that's heavy damage to the left front. You saw it immediately start bouncing around. So we take a couple more views here. I want to ride on board with Robert Jordan. Take a look. Exactly what he sees. So right here, it looks like he's close but not touching. The problem is that he is. He may not have been able to tell. And then when he rolls back up here, this is where he's going to get the big contact from Dean Wilkinson. And then he sees Alex Giffen and Larry Dickerson tangled up as well. So as we go back live up front, looks like Robert Jordan is currently sitting in the pits. So is the 00 Rob Connors. But Dusty Burkhart being scored as your leader. Dean Viney in second. Dana Osborne in third. Paul Servant in fourth. Les Levy in fifth. Bubba Whittingham in sixth. Len McNeese seventh. Tom Dixon in eighth. John Garrett ninth. And Todd Macy looks like he's currently rounding out your top 10 here tonight. So it's going to be under 30, probably closer to 25 laps to go. Excuse me, I was going to say, yeah, under 30, closer to 25 laps to go, and we take the green. Nobody going to be good to go on fuel yet, but that one stop becomes a lot more of a solid strategy at this point, and I don't think we'll see anybody really worried about saving from here on out. And on that note, as they're about halfway down the back straightaway, should get that one to go signal next time. So we're going to take another quick break. We will be right back for the restart. Stick with us at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway, getting ready for another restart. And it looks like it is going to be indeed 27 laps to go, and they cross the line this time. Dusty Burkhart and Dean Viney making up row 1. It's going to be Dana Osborne and Paul Servant in row 2. Les Levy rounding out the top 5. The rest of the field all in a nice single file line. All guys who topped off on fuel. Expecting that we do indeed still have that green flag stop and want to have to take the least amount possible. Rolling back up into the Geico restart zone now. Green flag is back in the air for Dusty Burkhart and Dean Viney. First time on the front row here tonight for Dean Viney, and doesn't look like he quite got the restart he wanted to. A lot of organization on the inside, not so much on the outside. Dana Osborne almost got clear there with a chance to jump up in front of the 71. Looks like he's going to get clear again as they go through 1 and 2. If the 8 chooses to jump up, could be the move for the lead. Nothing doing yet. He's going to stay low for now. Here comes the 71 now. Dean Viney with a little bit of an arrow push from the 3, Paul Servant. Les Levy was trapped on the bottom right here. Excuse me, is trapped on the bottom. I was going to say was rocking that third lane for most of the night. But he's going to have to either find a spot to jump up or get cozy being down here for a little while, as he will get boxed in. Out of turn number 4, the 3 of Dusty Burkhart staying down on the bottom. We've really not seen much of guys trying to control lines here tonight. We see a little bit of it in the Xfinity and trucks, but these cars, it's just too risky. You make a move up in the middle of a turn and the guy behind you isn't able to check up in time, even if he barely taps you. We've seen how quickly it sends these cars around, so nobody wanting to roll the dice on trying to block, at least up to this point. I think maybe that changes as laps start to wind down, but going to be coming to 25 laps to go when we cross the line this time, so we're starting to really wind down on the end of this thing. However, we're still expecting one more green flag stop, and I say one more. It'd be the first one of the night, but it'd be the final one at the same time, and it would probably happen, if I had to guess, not too long after the fuel window opens, especially if you're some of the guys on the Limitless team. We know that Cody Dawson, Vicente Guerrero, Robert Jordan, when those guys get together, they can roll a lot of speed, and I think they feel better about their chances of winning this race if they can have a chance to get the field separated, make it maybe battles of 4-car tandem spread outs than this giant pack where we've seen a lot of wrecks here tonight. Further towards the back, so we talk about guys sitting towards the back. Looks like David Overstreet currently only sitting 1 lap down, so he's still got a chance, but he's going to need another caution and hope that he can get the lucky dog. Ricky Wentworth, 22nd, the last man on the lead lap. Rob Connors, Dawson Wise up here in the 19th position. He's got Daniel Holloway just in front of him. All 3 of these guys have had to use at least one fast pair here tonight. Joshua Gathright in the 89 back there as well. Cody Nagels behind John Guerra. Alex Giffen, Adam Kilday, 13th and 14th. And then once you get inside the top 10, everybody's really calmed it down right here, at least for now. I mean, you got to wonder if part of it is contributed to Les Levy not being on that outside and not being able to take it 3 wide. But here we go, Todd Macy. He's going to be the man to do it this time. Robert Jordan wants to get back to the front where he's ran so much here tonight. And so he'll jump to that outside with Todd Macy, the 71 in the middle. You see he's really darting around. Dean Viney, he's got to be careful. It's going to be hard for the 3 to get close and line him up for a push down the straightaway if he's bobbing around too much. The 3 of Dusty Burkhart still on the bottom, holding a nice steady wheel. And there's a little bit of a push right there from Paul Servant, not getting a lot of help from Bubba Winningham. Further back, you see Larry Dickerson. He'll jump down to the middle as well to give Bubba Winningham a push. And the 54 and the 74, the way they set that move up worked pretty well, as they're going to move up a couple spots. Todd Macy gets clear. He'll jump down to the middle, pull a little bit more draft, and maybe pull Robert Jordan with him. It looks like for the moment Robert Jordan has not dropped down to the middle. He's going to stay up. And we talk about that last pit stop. I think that window maybe opens right around 20 laps to go. I'm going to say maybe 18 laps to go. But I'll tell you what, some of these guys let us get a couple in-race reports. And let's see if Cody Nagels maybe wants to give us a quick in-race report right here. As he tucks in line here, give him just a moment here to see if she's just getting ready to pull him in, and then saw him starting to make a move. Wanted to make sure that we weren't going to catch him at a bad time, but let's, sure enough, let's see if we can bring him in here real quick. Hey, Cody, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
What's I do. What's up?
All right. Well, man, what's going on? We're not used to seeing you run here in the back.
There's been a few cautions, man. I'm just kind of moseying around and trying, because I lost a fast repair early, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to let the racing settle down a bit. I think you're going to see me ramp it up once we get this last pit stop in to where we're good on fuel the rest of the way, and then I'll go up there. But I'm just kind of biding my time right now because I know these guys don't run the ARCA car a lot. I'm just letting them get comfortable with the car, and then when push comes to shove, you'll probably see me up in the mix.
Well, that pit stop's the next thing I want to bring up here. With as many wrecks as we've seen here tonight, is it more or less a better strategy here to try to pit as early as you can and separate these guys?
So I'm thinking with this car, the best thing is to stay with the numbers. It seems like, I think these cars tend to be very, like, dominant if you have more cars than the pack pitting. So if the pack pitting has 4 and there's still, say, 16 cars in the pack, it doesn't matter what the small group does, the pack is still going to outrun them. So I'm thinking our group's probably just going to pit with the majority and then just kind of bet on ourselves and say that we can pass them when it matters.
All right, well, we appreciate you talking to us. We'll let you get back to racing. Good luck.
Thank you.
That's Cody Nagels, one of the drivers for Limitless Esports. Having a good run so far here tonight. We'll see if he can continue that trend for the rest of the way. And he told you, he said, you'll see me at the front as this thing goes on. Don't worry about it. And I certainly believe every word of that. Oh, as they fan out up front, we got some trouble. Somebody got turned around, it looked like. Couldn't tell if they saved it. And going all the way to the back, looking for exactly who that was. Still not. Was it Joshua Gathright? No, it was even further back. Oh, man, it's Dusty Burkhart. Oh, he's got heavy damage. He did not miss the wall. You hear that thing scraping. That's going to be a fast repair if he can even make it back to the pits. And that is going to be a huge hit on the inside wall. Let's take a look at this. Just as we were getting ready to go back to the live feed here. Oh. So it looks like maybe Burkhart, does he get the back bumper? Let's go to the chopper view for it. Looks like maybe he just closes in on the back bumper, makes slight contact with 71 of Dean Viney. So Viney gets to the back bumper of the 3, doesn't want to slam him, so maybe just slightly checks up, and then Dusty Burkhart, as a result, gets to the back bumper of the 71, and unfortunately he does get into him, and that causes another bit of a checkup. And then Dana Osborne going to make a little bit of contact, maybe even slight netcode with the back of Dusty Burkhart. Dusty trying to save it. That's going to send him around, and then ultimately sends him down. Boom. Into the inside wall. Big hit for the 3s. He comes back on track, and to go back live here, Dusty, did he park it? Looks like he had some more trouble trying to get into the pits. You see the suspension is destroyed. And yeah, he's just trying everything at this point to make it to his box. Heavy, heavy damage. That is really unfortunate. Dusty was having a phenomenal night, pushing, leading. Said he wasn't taking any risks. Maybe he took just a little one right there and cost him everything that he's worked so hard for here tonight. And with 18 laps to go, he is probably going to need a caution if he wants a chance at re-fighting for the lead. Good news is he should have at least one, if not both of his fast repairs still for the night. Wasn't caught up in too many incidents up to this point. Up front, you got the 74, Robert Jordan, though, back in the lead. He's got some damage on the front. Doesn't seem to be affecting him too bad as he'll jump to the bottom. Bubba Winningham follows. Now he goes back to the middle. I think that was just the car darting around a little bit. Vicente Guerrero, one of Robert's teammates, though, on the top line. You got to wonder if the 74 is trying to follow. Here we go. Going to get our first round of pit stops, and it's going to bring in, looks like, about 7 cars. A lot of lockups, but everybody actually does a really, really good job getting down to pit road speed. I say a lot of lockups, not nearly as bad as what I was expecting. And so Larry Dickerson, just in front of Dawson Wise, darts down to his box, as does Alex Giffen, Robert Jordan, and Todd Macy. And so this group will come out. And I'm telling you, now that we got a little bit of separation, depending on which pack beats which, is going to determine whether or not they all group back together or we have 2 separate battles, one pack fighting for the lead and one pack fighting for a consolation prize at this point. Robert Jordan wins the race out of pit road. Man, great entry and great exit as well. Meanwhile, up front, that hands the lead over to Bubba Winningham. I think you're going to see these guys pit right here. Yeah, sure enough. Tom Dixon, he'll drop low. Bubba Winningham actually going to stay out. Not sure about that decision. Vicente Guerrero diving it hard into the pits. Man, he gains a ton of time. Beautifully done right there from the 14 car. Oh, man. Tom Dixon, a little bit of lockup right there. Maybe just going a little faster than he wanted to. The 71 of Dean Viney as well with this group. And so we'll see. Only 3 cars, so they really need to be able to tag onto this lead pack. And, oh, man, looks like Dawson Wise actually had gotten caught for speeding as you just saw him leaving his box. That's a tough break. Dawson been having a good night. Oh, Todd Macy with some trouble. Larry Dickerson, and it's going to draw the yellow as we cycle through pit stops. There's the 00. Rob Connors maybe involved in this one. Yeah, sure enough. So what happens here? Let's start with Todd Macy. And, man, these guys were 4 wide. Oh, my goodness. So here's where all this chaos is going to start. You got the leaders here. Robert Jordan, we'll play this slow for you and actually try to widen this view out. So here you go. You got Robert Jordan, Cody Nagels, Alex Giffen, all your leaders. You see Todd Macy catching. Oh, he's going to get a little bit of help right here, it looks like. Todd Macy catches on, checks up a little bit here. Larry Dickerson. Oh, actually, they don't make any contact. Todd Macy just drops. What in the world happens right here? I want to go on board first before we analyze the rest of the wreck. With Todd Macy, that was a really big checkup for what seemed like not too much to check up for. So you see they're all going down the straightaway fine. And yeah, Todd Macy, I'm not sure if he thought they were wrecking or what happened, but right here, there's a little bit of a checkup, and maybe he thought he was going to turn Alex Giffen. I'm really not sure, but once he puts on the brakes right there, it causes chaos behind all these guys trying to split 4 wide, and it worked for a couple cars. Unfortunately, though, it can only work for so long as you see Dana Osborne is going to shoot up late. I think so. It's going to be, yeah, Dana Osborne shoots up late, and it just gets him loose. He's coming back down, not clear. Gets into John Guerra, and then that sends him down into Larry Dickerson and Todd Macy, and they all do a relatively good job of straightening it out. Looks like the 00 got the worst of it there. As, man, Larry Dickerson holds on. That was a good save. Unfortunately, still got some damage in the process, so it was actually Rob Connors that got the worst of this one, as he was the man that got turned around. And there it is. Got turned around from Len McNeese. Slides down that bright 00, Arkham Menards. But he was able to get back rolling. So we'll take one more view before we go back live. And I don't think that's what any of the guys that had just pitted really wanted to see. This is a good break, though, for Dawson Wise, who got a speeding penalty and was going to need a caution. And it doesn't look like there was too much collateral damage in that one, so most of these guys will be able to continue on without having to go to the pits for repairs. But it is going to be, looks like, probably about a 12-lap to go restart when we take the green here. Just a lap, assuming we get the 1-to-go signal. And right now it is Robert Jordan being scored as your leader in the 74. Cody Nagels second. Sante Guerrero back in third. Paul Servant in fourth. Bubba Winningham fifth. Les Levy in sixth. Alex Giffen back in seventh. Tom Dixon eighth. Adam Kilday in ninth. And John Guerra rounding out your top 10 here tonight. And I just announced that like the results. And I'll tell you what, it's been a couple days here for me. Had a lot of stuff going on college work-wise, so I'll be the first one to admit the broadcasting, the commentary, I should say, more or less, certainly not going to be as good as what I'm used to having, as I just haven't got to in a couple of days. So appreciate everybody working with me, getting back into the swing of things. November's a crazy month, so we're just trying to work through it. And the NSRA Sunday Select Series, as they get ready for the playoffs, we'll be getting ready as well up here in the booth. Getting some, I'd say, a little bit of a different look for the tower. We'll have guys in playoffs highlighted with all these pretty colors and whatnot. And remember, we talked about it earlier in the broadcast, but all 16 guys that ran the amount of races to make them eligible for the playoffs also got in on points. So everybody that was eligible for the playoffs made it into the playoffs. So this race, not really much to gain. A win and a special car and some momentum, but that's about it. You see, it looks like Dusty Burkhart and Dawson Wise is going to try to get a wave around right here. They should be able to do so, as Burkhart being scored a lap down. And as they do so, and we expect to get the 1-to-go signal, we are going to take another side-by-side break, potentially final one of the night. Stay with us here at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway. Green flag is back in the air. 12 laps to go in the All-Star race. Oh, we already got trouble right off the restart. Giffin's trying to save it. He's not going to be able to. He does. Now he finally spins it around. Bubba Winningham was able to get back on track. The 99 with big trouble, though, here. Right off the jump. This will not draw the caution. We stay green. Alex Giffen needs to get it refired and back going here in a hurry. And he does, so he'll get it spun around. Doesn't look like he's really got any damage. But again, another driver now that's going to need a caution here at some point to keep his hopes of potentially winning this race alive. Here we go. Right off the jump. Does he miss a gear? Oh, no, Bubba Winningham. Not sure if some contact up top or what happened, but he gets sent down into the 99. That's what ultimately sends Giffen around. Meanwhile, back up front, that has caused quite a bit of separation as everybody's single file trying to catch the leader. Start to double file out back. Dawson Wise going to try to take advantage of all this checking up with Dusty Burkhardt as they jump to the outside. Cody Nagle's now up to third. Watch for him to jump outside as well. There he goes. Tom Dixon, one of the best pushers that we've seen here tonight. He'll follow. 11 laps to go. Everybody plenty good to go on fuel. Now it is all about a race to the checkered. Who can get the job done here tonight? Cody Nagles now surges ahead as they race down the back straightaway. And on the bottom, oh, he's going to get clear. I didn't think he was clear. Tom Dixon tried to follow. Didn't work. Now Dixon's going to get split in the middle. Oh, some more contact. The 3 of Paul Servant gets back up into the left door of Tom Dixon. Rubbins racing. And, man, those guys were doing a lot of it. Down the back straightaway. That was close. Off at turn at number 4, here comes the third lane. Robert Jordan, Vicente Guerrero, and Dawson Wise. 3 of the Limitless guys now in the middle with only 2 drivers. Is going to fade. You see John Guerra trying to get there, but he's got some damage, and it's hindering him right now. Thought Dixon maybe was thinking about jumping to the top there for a moment. Thinks better of it as he will stay in the middle. Getting pushed really hard right now from Joshua Gathright. You got to be careful. You do just a little bit too much pushing, and it could end really, really badly. You see the 89 try to stay nice and patient, wait until they get off the turn. Didn't get it lined up the way he wanted to. Now Cody's going to jump up to the middle. That'll pull some momentum along for Tom Dixon and Joshua Gathright. They now draw even with the 3 of Paul Servant. And I think this is all just Cody playing the games that, and I say playing the games, playing the mind games, right? I mean, if you move up to the top, the guy up top thinks you're blocking him, but in reality, oh, he's going to get turned. Cody Nagles trying to save it, but he got turned back into the pack. He gets tagged by Dean Viney. And, oh, man, big trouble for the driver of the 6. And just as he was starting to get himself set up for what looked like a chance at leading this thing all the way to the finish, he's going to have to go use, he has some pretty good rear end damage. We'll see if he's got to use another fast pair, but let's go back and take a look. Don't think there's going to be too much to break down on this one here. So I was just getting ready to talk about what Cody was doing, and I didn't use the best term for it. I say the games because this is what we see guys do for a couple different reasons. Normally, the reason he would be doing this, you would think, is to keep that guy up top at bay from getting clear of the middle, potentially clear him. But I think the reason Cody had jumped up to the middle initially was to just let Paul Servant cool off. And I think that was exactly confirmed right here as he drops back down to the bottom. Oh, no. Take that back. He didn't drop to the bottom. He got some help to the bottom. See, Tom Dixon is going to get to the back bumper and sends Cody down. And I think that might be the only guy we've seen tonight that has actually saved it. And then gets double tapped. That's the 3 of Paul Servant. I mean, you know, that's one of those ones I'm just not really sure what Paul was really doing here. I mean, like I said, Cody didn't come down trying to make a block. He got turned down. He saved it. And then the 3 just kind of finishes him off. Dean Viney coming along, nowhere to go as Cody continued to try to work the wheel and save it. Makes some more heavy contact and then secondary contact into the inside wall. But let's go right on board here with the 3 of Paul Servant so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So we already have the baseline established. Every single one of these guys knows that tonight pushing the corners does not work. You're going to see right here with Tom Dixon. Gives Cody a little push. That sends the 6 down. Cody saves it. And then, I mean, yeah, unless I missed something, certainly looks like the 3 just kind of drives through him right there. Yeah, and he didn't have anyone behind him to do so. So that's a tough break for both of those guys. But Cody probably not going to be too happy with Paul in that current moment. Guess we'll take a couple more looks at this one right here. And there's the close call. Man, the 0-0 of Rob Connors. I don't know how he missed a spinning Cody Nagels. Wow, was that close. Let's take one more look at this one. From the cockpit view of Rob Connors. Watch this. He's going to see it, and he's going to try to shoot the gap up top. Then he sees Cody coming back up, has to shoot the gap low. And, I mean, he just barely misses it. All right, so to go back live, that'll tick off a couple more laps, as it looks like it'll probably be about 6 laps to go now for the restart. And it is Tom Dixon leading the way, Robert Jordan second, Joshua Gathright in third, Vicente Guerrero fourth, Les Levy back in fifth, Dawson Wise in sixth, John Guerra seventh, Adam Kilday in eighth, Daniel Holloway in ninth, and Larry Dickerson currently rounding out your top 10. Tom Dixon been having a phenomenal night. In fact, let's see if we could actually maybe pull him up here for a quick word. These guys in all sorts of different Discords, but it looks like Tom, one of the guys, not in any of the Discords tonight, so we will hold off on getting a word from him. And on that note, as the pace car again comes around to take one to go, we'll check the announcement board real quick. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier in the broadcast, but for anybody that missed it, next place we head here on Ghost Racing Network is actually, I should say, on Tuesday, over to Tuesday Night Thunder for RMR Money Racing. It's going to be a good one. Look at the payouts. First through fourth, 156 to first, 125 to second, 62 to third and fourth. And you got to remember that $156 is also going to that end of the season pot/championship prize. And I know a lot of guys have been running that series. We've been seeing consistent fields over 20 cars. And when there's money on the line, if you see a field over 25 cars, you know the guys are enjoying what they're getting. Telling you, we saw a huge championship payout last season. Wouldn't be surprised if it's even bigger this season. Make sure you check us out some point during Tuesday night. Race starts at 10 o'clock Eastern. For anybody that's been sticking around here tonight, appreciate you being here. Getting back into the swing, of course, was absent the last 2 weeks for the NSRA Sunday Select Series. Apologies for that, especially last week. Week before, couldn't help the circumstances that I couldn't make it, but last week should have planned better. Thought we were going to be home in time and weren't. Could potentially had Dawson Wise or one of these guys cover it for us. But nonetheless, we're back here this week, and we're getting ready for what is indeed going to be 6 laps of pure chaos, 3 wide, bumper-to-bumper action of all these guys trying to get to the front. And a lot of guys up here looking for their first win on the season. Tom Dixon, Robert Jordan, Joshua Gathright, all of these guys trying to pull their first win of the season in the last race of the regular season. So we'll see what they can do here. Dixon's going to have the bottom, but I think Jordan is in the favored lane, especially when you consider that he's got a teammate lined up behind him. And you go further back, not too far back, Dawson Wise sits in that third spot on the outside line. He's going to be looking to get his way back towards the front by the end of this race. And then Cody Nagels, the man spun around in that last wreck, going to be trying to do the same thing as well. Looks like the back end's cleaned up. I'm thinking he probably chose to use the fast pair and doesn't look too nervous right now. Looks like he's pretty calm, cool, and collected and ready to go for this final restart. All right, here we go. Pace car is going to make the hard left turn, and I say final restart. Certainly going to be the final regulation restart, assuming we can make it 1 lap. And if we can get 5 times around this place all the way to the white flag lap, then this race would be official. Chance to be called an all-star winner on the line. And we're going to crown the winner of that title here in just 6 laps. Green flag is back in the air. Good jump for Tom Dixon. Robert Jordan, Vicente Guerrero not trailing too far behind, though. As they get down into turn 1. Both lanes looking pretty organized. The problem is that inside, not a lot of help right now. Tom Dixon sees that. He's going to jump up. What will Jordan do? Jordan chooses not to split. He's going to have to let off. That's going to turn Dixon down to the inside of 411. Tries to save it. Tank slapper. Now he's going to come back up, locks it down, gets it back going in the right direction. But it's going to draw the caution. And so just as I say, final regulation restart. Maybe not. And this one, not going to be hard to break down in terms of caution. Back and take a look. As soon as I saw the 411 jump up right here, I'm not going to lie, I kind of expected this coming. When he jumps up, this is going to cause a checkup because Jordan catches him with so much speed, he can't hit him. But he knows that if he checks up, he's going to get hit, so he tries to lightly tap him, hoping maybe it would work since they're still getting up to speed. It doesn't. Turns the 411 right down the track, him and Gathright. go for a slide. I think Gathright was able to miss anything. Unfortunately for Dixon, though, you saw him with the tank slapper into the inside wall. Take an alternate angle of this one here. Backing it up, Joshua Gathright immediately locks it down. There's Tom Dixon trying to steer out of it. It's just not going to work. And, ooh, actually, Joshua does take a little bit of contact. I don't think that's fast repair worthy. But just really, again, nothing. That time I didn't really feel like anybody did anything wrong. But we haven't quite explored the territory of can you bump guys out of turn 2. We've seen guys, if they're locked up, they can kind of push to 1 and 2 on that first lap. In this case, though, it did not work out. So Joshua Gathright locks it down. There's the slide for Dixon, who did a nice job keeping it off track, but again, it drawed the caution nonetheless. So we'll go back live here pretty quickly. Expecting this to be a relatively quick caution and should get the restart here. Not sure if we get the one to go signal this time or next time with either 2 or 3 laps to go. See if we can crown ourselves a winner here tonight. It's been a pretty long one. 9 cautions in an 80-lap race, and we're not even done yet, is a caution in less than every 10 laps. Certainly can tell it's not the usual territory for these guys in the cars that they're in tonight. Used to the trucks and Xfinity, but the ARCA cars definitely drive quite a bit different. And guys have been trying to get a feel for it all night. Taking a quick look at the schedule for the NSRA Sunday Select Series. We are now at the end of the regular season, and the chase is going to start with the round of 16 at Daytona International Speedway. That race will be in the trucks. Second race in the round of 16 will be at Talladega in the Xfinity cars. Round of 8 is going to be Legacy Daytona in the trucks, followed by regular Daytona at night in the Xfinity cars, and then the championship race. Round of 4 will be back in the Xfinity cars at Talladega Superspeedway. We saw how great of a race that was last season. Expecting more or less of the same here this season. And so as we get ready for the restart, these guys should get the one to go signal this next time. We are indeed going to take another break, but we'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Talladega. Back live with the All-Star race for the NSRA Sunday Select Series from the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway. Getting ready for a natural overtime finish. Going to be 2 laps to go, but we're not officially in overtime. The way the rules are going to go, if we can make it to that white flag, this race will be official. How about Robert Jordan up top with Vicente Guerrero on the bottom? Dawson Wise fourth on the outside. That's 3 teammates. They got to be feeling pretty good about their position right now, but you can't count out Les Levy on the inside. He's been fast and very aggressive all night. Adam Kilday, first time inside the top 5 for him as well. The 3 of Paul Servant. What can he do? And then further back, Cody Nagel is going to be trying to work his way back to the front. We'll see if he can make it happen. 2 laps, over 6 miles here at Talladega Superspeedway to crown a winner in the NSRA Sunday Select Series All-Star Race. All right, here we go. Robert Jordan and Vicente Guerrero into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is in the air. 2 laps to go at Talladega. And it's a good rolling start for that outside. Robert Jordan going to be able to get clear. Dawson Wise giving him a push. We'll see if the 74 jumps down. Nothing doing just yet. And as he stays up top, has a chance to maybe bring his teammate clear. This outside going to have a ton of momentum again here as they roll down the back straightaway. Still no organization yet on the inside. Dawson Wise going to be very careful here. Wants to push his teammate, but doesn't want to get him into an awkward spot. Robert Jordan has had the speed all night. A little bit of damage in the front, but it doesn't matter right now. Here comes the 3rd lane starting to form up. Being led by the 25 of Larry Dickerson, Alex Giffen, and looks like Len McNeese as well, trying to hop on board for the cause. And big run out of the 25. Where did Larry Dickerson come from? Ooh, Robert Jordan drifts up the track just a little bit as they work their way through the short chute down into the tribal, looking for the white flag. Big momentum on the outside. Larry Dickerson all the way at the top of the track. He is going to get clear as the white flag flies. 1 lap to go at Talladega. Robert Jordan's going to bail down to the inside now. That top line still surging heavily. Jordan jumping up, trying to side draft, but Dawson Wise now going to poke a nose ahead of Alex Giffen. Dickerson jumps down to the middle, going to try to block this run. Where does the 98 go? We got 1, maybe a couple more around out back. That was Daniel Holloway off of 2, but we stay green up front. Cody Nagels, no support for that 3rd line just yet. Dickerson trying to make up his mind what lane he wants. Can't jump to the bottom in time. Now Robert Jordan with another run. He's going to try to make a push to the lead off of turn 4. Final time into the tribal, looking for his first win of the season. Robert Jordan on the bottom. Larry Dickerson looking to play spoiler here tonight. Contact up the track is going to lose all the help for Dickerson. Robert Jordan wins it at Talladega. And they are going to be going crazy about this one. You can see the teammates. They didn't win it, but they sure are pumped about it. What a win for Robert Jordan. First one of the season. Does a phenomenal job, and he gets the job done here tonight. Chaos ensues out back. But up front, it was all number 74. First win of the season. Let's go back and take a look at how he did it. So he's got some damage in the front. You got to remember, that was certainly hurting this car for the entirety of these last 2 laps. But when they started to break apart here coming to the tribal, that was where it all but wrapped up. Anybody else's chances of beating Robert Jordan right here. Dawson Wise looking for a push. Going to get a little side draft here off Alex Giffen. They make slight contact, and then they kind of get glued together maybe. And at that point, Dickerson just lost all his momentum. And Robert Jordan gets to win at the start-finish line. So go back live. Here comes your winner. Round to do some burnouts. And as he does so, we will take a look at your finishing results here for the night. Robert Jordan, first win of the season. Larry Dickerson in 2nd. Vicente Guerrero finishes in 3rd. Alex Giffen 4th. Les Levy 5th with Adam Kilday in 6th. Dawson Wise in 7th. Paul Servant in 8th. Dean Wilkinson 9th. And Cody Nagels rounding out your top 10. Rob Connors finishes 11th. John Garrett in 12th. Len McNeese in 13th. Bubba Winningham in 14th. Joshua Gathright in 15th. Todd Macy in 16th. Tom Dixon back in 17th. Daniel Holloway rounding out your top 18. Dean Viney in 19th. And Dusty Burkhart rounding out the top 20. Dana Osborne finishes 21st. Dana Osborne 22nd. Excuse me. Ricky Wentworth finishes 21st. Dana Osborne 22nd. David Overstreet finishes 23rd. And Brian Kaufman rounding out the field tonight. He finishes in that 24th position. And there you see it. All the Limitless guys doing a burnout. They got the job done here tonight. Pretty much a team-oriented a team-oriented restart there towards the end. So as the celebration continues, we're going to go see if we can get your top 3 in here for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway. Going to start first tonight with your third place finisher, Vicente Guerrero. Vicente, you got a copy?
Sure, I sure did.
All right, well, a good run here tonight. You're able to push a teammate to the win and still bring home a podium spot. How you feeling?
I am feeling overwhelmed right now. I'm so stoked that, Robert got his win. I was able to push him to the win. I am so freaking stoked.
Well, we saw you start this race out not the way you wanted to. You had to go to the pits early. You got caught a couple laps down, but you kept fighting, and you found yourself back in the top 5 for the latter portion of this race. How do you go about changing the strategy like that when your whole race gets flipped upside down that early?
I just try to get my laps down. I mean, get caught up to the, get a, lucky dog, and I was able to get my lucky dog. I was actually a couple laps down. And then just work up front. I love these cars. These cars are extremely fast, but you got to be nice and easy on the pushing, But I love this car. The ARCA cars are amazing.
Well, before we let you head out tonight and enjoy your podium finish, is anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
I definitely want to thank out our team right here, Discord, and Robert Jordan, Dawson, Cody, and you for broadcasting, and NSRA for putting on this league. I really enjoy racing tonight here. Awesome. This is one for the books for me. I love you guys.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us, and we'll see you next week. All right.
Awesome.
And I accidentally jumped down to the waiting room. Probably made it pretty hard for those guys, but we'll pull up your second place finisher right here, and that is Larry Dickerson. Hey, Larry, this is all set up in the booth. You got a copy?
That's loud and clear, buddy.
All right, well, you bring home a second place finish tonight. I know you wanted me to probably be broadcasting on one of your wins, but hey, second place, not too bad. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I thought I was going to be able to get that third win in a row, but hey, you can't win them all. I'll take a second. Great run.
Well, towards those, I wasn't going to say towards the end, but that overtime right there, we saw a lot of chaos. Coming through 3 and 4, looked like you had a decision. Drop to the bottom or stay up top. Walk us through that process, and if you wish you would have changed anything.
Yeah, that's what me and Robert was talking about. When I restarted on the outside right there on that green-white checker, and I actually thought I didn't have a chance. But luckily enough, I've been running and helping out the last couple of weeks with Lynn and Rob, hanging out with them, and we've been working really good together. And I took the run initially on the back stretch, and nobody went with me. And then Rob was in that second lane below me, and it stacked up just enough to where he had to go off the throttle, and he was able to jump behind me, him and Lynn. And man, that was a heck of a run we had. And when we came off turn 4, I knew I had the whole pack cleared, but I wanted to go down, but at the same time, like I said, I've been working with them the past couple weeks, and man, there's some great guys, fun guys to work with. So I kind of wanted to keep working with them. Maybe we can all 3 get the podium. And yeah, coming off turn 4 right there, I thought I had it kind of won. I thought maybe that high lane momentum would save me, but don't know who that was behind me in the monster car. He couldn't quite keep up to my bumper good enough to keep my momentum up. And Robert had Vicente on his back bumper, and their momentum just took Robert right back by me at the last second. And the last thing I wanted to do was come down to block Robert and ruin the whole race, wreck the whole field. I didn't want to ruin a good finish for everybody and ruin a incredible finish for the broadcast.
Well, it certainly was a good finish for yourself, bringing home that second place finish tonight. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Absolutely. First off, I want to thank David for accepting me in this league, man. When I started this league, I just wanted to do it for fun. Didn't expect to make the playoffs. Didn't expect to win a race. And here I am sitting with 3 wins and a top 4 position and starting the playoffs next week. So hopefully we'll keep that momentum going. Shout out to you for your broadcasting, man. I go back and watch every broadcast afterwards, and you do an amazing job. So shout out to you. Shout out to my VRL family, another group I race with. I might have convinced some of them next season to come over and join us, so that'll be awesome if I get some more over them over here. It'd be a great group I can bring over, some cool guys. Shout out to my sponsors, LA Construction, JP Design for my awesome paint jobs, and AAA Broadcast, another group, the broadcaster races I run with. Shout out to them. And the biggest sponsor of all, as I've talked to you before, is the Angelman Syndrome Foundation. Anybody that can help with any forms of autism, donate to any organization dealing with autism, you'd be doing that organization and them people a great cause. So look them up, see what you can do to help, and shout out to my friend Dylan Bryant when he watches the broadcast back, and I got to do this noise for him. And so catch y'all next week and ready for the playoffs.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us here tonight, Larry. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, and shout out to my wife too. I almost forgot about that one. Don't want to sleep on the couch.
All right, there you go. Now we're going to bring up tonight's winner. Well, they call him Superman, and he certainly flew across the checkered flag here tonight. Robert Jordan. Robert, you got a copy? Maybe a little bit of difficulties. Robert maybe stepped aside for just a moment. Try him again here. Hey, Robert, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Can you hear me?
There we go. All right. We got a copy. So, hey, Robert, I'll tell you what. Mad fast tonight. You played your cards right, but coming to the checkered flag there, did you think you had what you needed to win it?
I knew as long as I had Vicente behind me, I had a chance. But that Larry guy, he was fast. He could have passed me, I think.
Well, you had a little bit of damage for that last restart,
yeah.
And it looked like at one point you actually lost the position. At that point, did you think it was over, or did you just know you had to drop to the bottom and you'd have a chance?
Yeah, that's what we planned on. Me and Vicente, we were in chat. He said, get down low, and I did, and I just let him push me because I had so much damage. They said they could see my wheel sticking out of the fender well. That's how bad it was.
We know you got a lot going on and off track, and I mean, just to get this win in the All-Star race and the transition over to the playoffs, how much does it mean?
Oh, man, this is the greatest thing. I was so happy with my teammates and everything. They've been trying so hard to get me a win all season, and they finally pulled it off.
All right.
I'm sorry I turned Tom Dixon, though. It wasn't intentional. My nose got up underneath him right when he pulled up. I want to apologize to Tom because that was not. He's a good driver.
We certainly saw a lot of incidents relating to the front nose here tonight. Certainly was a tricky, one of the many tricky factors on these cars. But overall, did you like these better than the trucks and Xfinity cars?
I actually do. I like the way they feel. You can feel the tire giving way. You can feel the road a lot better, in my opinion.
All right. Well, before we let you head out and enjoy your win here tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Oh, I have to shout out to my Limitless teammates. Cody being our leader, he has great advice. Of course, Vicente and Dawson Wise, those guys you ought to be in our chat sometimes. It's hilarious when we get going. We have a great time.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you giving us your time here and talking to us, Robert. Congrats one more time on the win, and hopefully we'll see you here next week.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you. And also, David Overstreet, thanks for such a fun league. This has got to be the funnest league there is.
Certainly got that right. All right. That is just about going to wrap up our coverage here tonight at Talladega. Phenomenal win, and the first one of the season for Robert Jordan comes in the All-Star race. Vicente Guerrero pushed his teammate to the win. Larry Dickerson almost extends the streak to 3 in a row. Couldn't quite do it. But we certainly appreciate everybody that tuned in here tonight. I hope you did enjoy. We'll be back on Tuesday for RMR Money Racing. Till next time, have a good night.